Good evening, friends. So we have got a very interesting couple today with us. I'm sure you have seen them and you know them. Mr. Ketan Mehta and Deepa Sahi. One of the proud Indians that we know who are the intellectual capital of this country. We are going to share, we have never repeated a sector in IC, and today's sector is something different. It's intelligence, it's creativity, it's entertainment, and it's going to be vision building on how you think and how you can implement on a global scale. Both are international personalities, both have done work which we all have enjoyed for the last couple of years. Both are doing something new, interesting and bigger in scale in the coming time, in the next few months and few days. Let's listen their journey of entrepreneurship during our conversation. Can I please request Mr. Ketan Mehta and Deepa Sahi to join me on the stage. Well, Ketan, this is a very interesting moment for us that we are interacting with you all. You all have been known by the country, nationally, internationally for the work that you have done. Let's begin with the production of the movies that you started with, the direction of the movies that you started with. So as a director is a professional like a chartered accountant or a doctor or a lawyer or anybody else. A professional is also an entrepreneur. So how do you, when you see the script, how do you decide what needs to be done and what intelligence goes into it to add value to the script?
This is a question that every creative person asks again and again and again every time he starts on a script. How to start with this? You see, there are no fixed rules or formulas for this. Especially for us, I believe, or we believe, that cinema is the most powerful medium ever created by human beings. I also believe that cinema is a medium which actually communicates to the whole world and not just to each other. And so, we believe that the 2 hours that you borrow from the audiences who see your film are precious.
Oh, borrow from the audiences. Fantastic. That's a good statement.
In that case, we have to create value for those 2 hours so that the people who are spending money to see your film go back enriched. That is the basic premise. And if that is the basic premise, each film has to be special, each film has to be unique, each film is something that the audience would like to carry home with them. So I'm sure just as you developers do, you see a land and then dream up how to develop it, what can be done with it. Similarly, an idea or a story strikes you as filmmakers, and you figure out what is the best that you can do with it, how to communicate that, how to share it actually with an audience in the best possible manner. And each story has its own dynamic, it has its own equilibrium to handle, it comes with its own form. The joy and challenge of filmmaking is that each time you make a film, it's a different adventure that you are going on, And so each one is special. There's no formula. I mean, people try, and big multinational corporations now are trying to work out a formula which is a successful formula. I think the only formula that works is that each time you have to be different, each time you have to be unique, each time you have to be special.
So for us as entrepreneurs, for us the business script is like a script that you see. So when we see the business script, we identify the teammates who will be on board for executing that business plan. As a director, when you see the script, you also start visualizing on who can be your teammates in terms of your production house, in terms of the lead actors, the side actors, the comedians, and etc., etc. So how do you take a judgment call on what is a team that should be the best fit for the script in hands? How do you do that?
And there are 2 ways of going about this. Most of the industry actually works the other way around. It figures out who is the film star they can approach and rope in, and then the rest of the things, including the script and the story and everything, follows. We are crazy people, so we go the other way around, where a story comes first, you figure out what the story requires, And based on that figuring out, you select the best people who will take that story forward. And in filmmaking, you work with so many different people, with so many specialities of their work. And you see their work, you interact with those people, you share your ideas with them, and then figure out who is the best person to do those, either that role or participate as a technician in the unit.
How do you visualize unfolding the plan that you have decided as far as direction for the movie is concerned? How does it unfold?
In as meticulous a planning as you people must be doing for your projects. A script is broken down into absolute details, each sequence and its requirements in terms of costumes, in terms of characters, in terms of the settings, in terms of what are the visual effects that are, each thing is broken down to the smallest detail. And then based on that, actually a production plan is worked out. And Deepa is the specialist in that, actually breaking it down and make it into a coherent, viable, doable project plan, where all these details are worked out, our time schedules are worked out, the cost parameters are worked out on a daily basis. The fact about cinema is that it has the greatest number of variables thrown in any project, and these variables change on a daily basis. An actor falls ill, and your entire schedules go haywire. You have to rework it on a daily basis. It's like war or politics, for that matter, So you're constantly reworking your schedules and plans because there are so many variables that you're playing with, and that's why this kind of an exquisitely worked out production plan that is necessary. Without it, it leads to waste in terms of money, in terms of time,
efforts,
and everything.
So even after he started his first movie, when he did his first movie, Satyajit Ray, one of the most respectable people in this country for at least entertainment industry is concerned, said that Mr. Ketan Mehta is one of the brightest talent on the shores of India. So that was the credibility that he got even when he started even after he did it first time. So I would like to now move my focus to Maya Mem Saab. So Deepa is very well known for what she has done as far as acting is concerned. We all know her as a very renowned actress who acted in a couple of films at the beginning of her career in the film industry. She then went on into production, and she really changed the rules for this country as far as animation and multimedia is concerned. So that's the other phase of doing business. So what's the Maya behind this Maya? What's the Maya behind this Maya group? Why the name Maya?
Because I think we believe that the world is an illusion. And truth is always relative. Your truth will be very different from my truth. There is nothing called truth. We believe whether the same thing, glass half khali, half full kind of a situation. Having said that, I think film industry, artists are kind of they're not renowned. Everybody thinks that we don't understand business, but there is a lot of method to this madness, because it's such a finance heavy industry that you cannot do it unless you tackle the method behind this madness. And we've all, Ketan and I have learned on the job how to do this. Initially it was like diving into a passion. So I just knew that it's my life, it's a short life. When I die tomorrow maybe, or now maybe, I must say that I did what I wanted. What do I want at the end of my life? Do I want to say only that my balance sheet was bigger than yours and die? No. I want to say that I did what I wanted. Because at the end of it, there's nothing, right? So that philosophy gives you courage, and it gives you guts to do.
And that creates the Maya.
That creates the Maya. So I think Ketan and I both decided it's a very obvious choice for people who are educated. You want to go this way or you want to go that way. So do we at the end of our lives just make money with star-studded films? Then I think film people actually have very less money compared to 3,000 crores, 10,000, 30,000 crores, you know. So what is it that you want out of life is the question. So we said that both of us agree, and that's why we can work together, is that we both want the same things, which is to express what we want to do. That does not mean we think that every film we make is going to be a 200 crore film. No, the film industry is quite systematic in that sense. There are pockets that you have to opt for. So if you want to do this kind of a film, you have to understand your audience. How big is that audience? How much money can you recover from that? Because it is somebody's money and you can't be responsible for that. So there are slots of your budgeting. So you have to opt for what you want to do. And luckily, so far we have done okay.
So after production of 7 films and 10 television serials.
14, I think.
14, okay.
No, now,
I'm sorry.
now if I count the animation series, then it must be about 22 or something.
Okay. So after doing all of this, how do you ensure that investors trust and believe in your talent and they keep investing so that you keep producing?
Like I said, by understanding how much money can be recovered with
Because
this
investors
subject.
is one animal who does not understand philosophy.
No, this is no philosophy. This is maths, actually.
I mean, the investors are very good in their maths.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to look at and say, all right, as long as you see that we are creating value, in that case, that value is valuable.
And you know, the thing is that the highest ROI is on the smaller films. The investors who are investing understand that. It's the bigger films which are very risky, and that's why you find the studios are packing up. Now Disney has just packed up. We know about 5 studios we packed up last time. Is because they were turning the film business from a balance sheet game into a stock market game. So, and it had no foundation. I mean, how long can you increase your share prices on hype? Ultimately, the shareholders have to
Face
get
the reality.
Yeah. So that's why they actually distorted the game. Ketan's plan reading is that the Americans have done it deliberately. Because see, India was the only country which saw Indian movies. Hollywood had virtually wiped out all other cinema. Europe, everything, everywhere. They had like a tsunami swept off over all the cultures. India was the last remaining bastion.
So friends, Maya Group is an accidental entrepreneurship firm as well, because necessity is the mother of all inventions, like we say. When they wanted to create animation effects into their movies, they could not get any professionals for that, and there they created the concept of education in the field of animation industry. And we all know the company MAC, M-A-A-C. Okay, so that was also founded by them. The original idea was to create professionals who can create content and give it to them as their inputs to the film industry. So how was that experience of journeying into the education arena and ultimately exiting it super profitably?
You see, as you say, necessity is the mother of all invention. And that's how it started for us. We were doing a film called Maya Mem Sab. And there was a shot at the end of it where this woman called Maya, who is the protagonist of the film, drinks a magic potion, bursts into a flame of light, and disappears. As a scriptwriter, it's so easy to say she bursts into a flame of light and disappears. But this was early 90s. We were still, as in the film industry, we were still working with technology of the Second World War era, Digital technology was just coming into the world. We must have shot that one particular sequence 10 times, and still by the end of it, we were not happy with it. We went to Hong Kong to do that one single sequence, and still by the end of it, when the film was finally released, we were still not happy with that shot. And I said, isn't it strange that we Indians proudly say that we are the largest film industry in the world? We make the largest number of films in the world. We employ the largest number of people anywhere in the world, in this film industry. And still, this one single shot that we have been looking for, we don't have the technology to do it. And that was the turning point. we decided to just take a leap of faith, say that this digital technology, which was actually changing and redefining the rules of the game as far as the industry
In
is
92.
concerned. In 92.
No, I mean, we did it in 96, actually.
The company started in 96.
The idea came in 92.
92.
We-
By 1996, we decided to take this leap and started Maya as a studio with the first computers, the old ancient computers, with a bunch of 10 people, still not knowing ourselves what the technology was capable of. Leave us, I mean, and we were the pioneers, so nobody else in the industry knew either.
What was the first mover advantage for being the pioneers? And how did you retain that advantage?
A long battle. Certainly it was a first mover's advantage. But as a result, Intel came in, saw our work. They realized that we were doing more than anyone else in the world.
Actually, there was a bit of instinct involved in that also, because that time, the entire technology was dominated by SGIs. So there were these huge, gigantic, expensive SGIs, and there were these PC-based solutions. So we opted for PC-based, and everyone said, "You're crazy. Not even an ad guy will come to you because everybody goes to SGIs." But we just thought that computer means sharing, and only sharing has the future. Only mass markets have the future. So we actually opted. I said
For
we
new
want
technology.
we want to invest in the future, not in the past. So I'm not going to invest in SGIs. I'm going to invest in the futures. But there were no animators, for that technology.
And friends, today they produce the largest original content per month in the world, where they create 550 minutes of digital content every month.
Original.
Original. And that's the largest creation of original content in the world as on date. Another interesting aspect is they are the first people in the world who have converted a 42 acres of fort, an original fort, historical fort in Amritsar, into a augmented reality game show zone. And that's going to be, now I don't know with the current affairs that's happening in the country when it will be launched. It was supposed to be the 8th of December. It might be on the 8th or a few days here and there. But 42 acres old fort converted into augmented reality game show zone, which will change the way games are going to be played globally, and with an investment of around, not to be saying, okay, it's in big digits.
He's gone
It's
into
in
the
big
future.
digits.
We haven't yet done it. We are going to do it. Nothing is.
So that's
and
going to be-
It's not a gaming zone. My thing is, we are losing touch with our own culture, and how the point is that average age of India is about 27.
Absolutely.
So how do you introduce your own people to their own culture, because everything has been wiped out? So to use today's technology to talk to today's youth and tell them the roots that they come from, So it's.
And for your information, friends, Deepa Sahi has got 0 academic qualification as far as IT is concerned. And her entire business model is today, the power that she has today is all related to technology, and she loves technology. She breathes technology. She is using technology to the hilt, and augmented reality is something that she is going to bring on a bigger platform to India as a country. So how does it feel to do something in which you are not formally qualified, and that's your business model today?
No, I think it all comes from an obsession. If you get obsessed with anything, I think you make things happen. And that's exactly it. I just happened to, both of us visited a holography museum many years ago, and I just knew there's something around the horizon which is going to change the world. And 2 years ago, I decided to dive into it. So I spent a year traveling, just seeing what are the latest things happening in technology, and tied up with the best tech partners who are really leaders in the field. And I'm very determined to bring it here and start it in a big way, so that everyone can benefit from it. I think there's a paradigm shift happening in communication. So what is out of home entertainment is going to be redefined. Once the Oculus Rift becomes $30 from $300, the entire scenario of what is entertainment is going to change. So that's where we are trying to.
That's true. I mean, cinema as a medium is going to change. How you consume and produce entertainment is going to change dramatically over the next 10 years. And we are at just the beginning of that journey. And that's
Ketan,
excitement.
as a creative person and as an entrepreneur, how do you create a business plan and how do you map it and how do you monitor it? Because in creativity, sometimes people go haywire as far as the budgets are concerned. People go overboard. Like, for example, you might not realize where the cost is escalating to. So how do you ensure that you are aware about where your business plan is going?
No, we have complete tracking sheets. I mean, I can actually sit here today and have 5 productions running simultaneously without getting up from my office chair.
You people assume that we are idiots, you know. I mean, what a question. Listen, filmmaking is the toughest task anywhere in the world. It's more challenging than, if you're doing it well, it is more challenging than waging a war. Okay? To do it harmoniously, collectively, with so many variables going, is a challenging task and requires systems which are really solid and profound. And just as you follow systems to track your multiple businesses, similarly, we also somewhere have to do that as businessmen.
As an entrepreneur, what is your strength? What is your core strength as an entrepreneur? Not as a creative person, as an entrepreneur.
I think our ability to take risks, because they keep saying de-risk, but the fact is you cannot be a pioneer and do things unless you've taken a risk. You think it's calculated sometimes, but the world surprises you. And do you survive that surprise? And how do you survive that surprise is basically the game.
Ketan has also been honored by the government of France for the quality of work that he has done. So that's again a feather in his cap. At the same time, he is also an advisor to the national government as far as entertainment industry is concerned in this country. So how do you think as a business model this moves forward? Because India population was considered as a curse on this country. Today its biggest strength. And India is the place in the world which has got the most economical mode of entertainment. For 20 to 50 bucks, you can have a 3 hours entertainment, which is unheard of in anywhere in any part of the world. How do you think it's moving forward?
I think even the business models in the film industry are being redefined completely at this point of time. You see, what has happened is with this multiplex revolution, I mean, in spite of the fact that we have such a large population, we have one of the lowest population to screen ratios, as they say. Number of screens per 1,000 people, we have one of the lowest in the world. So the full potential of the film industry hasn't even been realized as yet. We have 11,000 screens all over India for a population of 1.2 billion people, unheard of, and still it is such a large film industry. So we have a lot going for us, but this potential of this industry to grow is phenomenal. The problem is that on one hand, what has happened is that we have allowed the what were called single screen theaters to get dilapidated. The government has never supported the film industry as such. We are also, by the way, the highest taxed industry as far as India is concerned. So in spite of all this, if the industry is growing rapidly, it's because we have such a large population and we are addicted to cinema. Just as we are addicted to cricket, we are addicted to cinema, and that's the reason why this industry is growing. The thing is being rediscovered and remodeled because on one hand, you have single screen theaters with 50 rupees tickets which are getting dilapidated. On the other hand, you have multiplexes where the tickets are 250 rupees to 300 rupees a shot per person. That basically means that a family of 4, if it's going, it's $1,000 plus popcorns, and if you throw in, it's a couple of $1,000 gone. Now, how many people can actually afford that kind of a ticketing is the question that now is facing us on strongly. And that basically means that the current film industry at this point of time, that is the so-called Bollywood film industry, is catering to less than 2% of India's population. That's the fact.
With the digital explosion happening,
but that
you all are content creators.
That is for the future, because it's there. How to monetize that new technology has still not been figured out as yet. So this is still work in progress. I think all this will fall into place over the next 3 years, but you will see fundamental change happening in the business models of the film industry.
So Deepa, what is your take in the evolving technology that's happening in the entertainment zone as far as animation is concerned? multiple channels not only traveling in within the country, but even Indian content is being viewed internationally. So the audience has increased because of the digital reach, what we call as world cinema. Where do you see, in terms of the quality of content and monetization of content, where do you see this business model going ahead?
You know, see, the quality of Indian animation is superb. Indians have always been great mathematicians, and they have always been great culturally. I mean, I don't think any other country has so many classical art forms like India has. You look at each region, they have their own. So now, in technology, these two talents come together in our field. And animation is such a big growing business that it has already become, I think, the sixth largest industry in America, and it is bigger than the automobile industry in Japan already. Unfortunately, due to a huge other problems of this country, the government has not supported so far creative industries. Whereas the advantage of America is that Americans realized very early the power, not just the financial power, the ideological power of the media. So they figured that every foot of American film that is seen is selling $1 worth of American goods somewhere. It is taking America to some other place. Whereas here we have been the most taxed, and it is a miracle that we have survived. Korea has actually declared it a manufacturing industry, not a service industry. So it does not, you don't have to pay service tax, you're given tax holidays. In fact, the American Association contributes to the presidential fund, and that is the reason why American cinema and entertainment industry is dominating the world. So I wish our government would also see the potential and the power of this medium and treat it in the same way. Because you see, India has a huge common cultural DNA with Asia. So we can actually be the best in the entire world.
A majority, or 60% of the revenues of the American films or American industry, entertainment industry as a whole, which includes games and everything, comes from outside their country. In case of India, it is less than 5% of our revenues which are coming from international sources. Media and entertainment are global businesses. The boundaries are collapsing all over the place. Now we as content creators have also to say, why are we like frogs in a well just catering to Indian audiences? We have to start catering to a larger and larger audience across the world. Even in 1950s, we had our films used to go to Eastern Europe, they used to go to Russia, used to go to Middle East and Africa. We lost out those markets in 80s and 90s. It's time to start rediscovering those markets for Indian films. And with the digital technology now coming in, the globe is our market.
How do you think Netflix and Amazon can add value to the creative industry in India? Because a lot of content is now being prepared only for those platforms where releasing is a zero cost and you get paid when they are viewed. So how will that platform add value to people like you in the entertainment industry?
That digital platforms is the future. I mean, no questions about it. It's an emerging future, but that is the future, because the age of mechanical reproduction is over. It's a digital age. We have entered the digital age very, very rapidly, and it's going to change the entire way we do business in the media.
You are also going to take a leapfrog jump into the education industry again, because you have already done once with Mac, and you're now planning into the augmented reality. So do you prepare a business plan before you start a new venture, or you just jump into it and then create it around it?
We actually hired KPMG to do a feasibility report, and only then we jumped in, dived in. There is a saying, Ketan and I, it's his dialogue, I love it. It just shows the whole experience. He's saying, समझना तो असंभव है, संभव है अनुभव हो जाए.
क्या बात है. Superb, superb. So friends, we are all open for questions. We can start asking questions to them and enjoy the questions. Yes, Nikhil. No, you'll still need the mic.
pet.
My question to you all is because on the anti-piracy, and I'll tell you why, because I do a lot of anti-piracy litigation. My last one was Dishum that I did. How are you all looking at anti-piracy and how are you all trying to stem that part of it? Because
I
that's a
think
huge challenge.
again here, as a producer, I have a very strong opinion that there are lots of sites, piracy sites like piratebay.com and things, and our films have gone there 10 days before release, literally wiping off our audiences. The fact is that people are allowed to advertise on these sites, which is where they get their revenue from. So I think our government needs to be very proactive, and it's like participating with a criminal. You know, you how can you support advertising on somebody who's selling stolen goods? Those companies which are advertising over there should be jailed.
I'm sure
No, I
they are
think
watching this and they can take
I
you.
think the government is not doing enough at all. If they can pull down porn sites and if they can block political
Speeches.
coming on the net, they should be able to do this. This is really damaging the entertainment industry as a whole substantially for the last 20 years or more. And it's high time that we woke up to that.
See, these guys are obviously making money somehow, right? So one has to block how they are making money, so they'll stop stealing.
Yes, Srinivas.
Yeah, pleasure of meeting you, but I strongly follow this industry, that telecommunication. And this particular industry where we are in is more number of financial leakages because multiple stakeholders. You already touched the point because the shelf life of the product is not even 3 days.
Sorry?
The shelf life of the product, the movie producing, weekends only the business runs.
No, that's just the box office.
Box office.
Not the shelf life is very long.
Yeah, shelf
Sholay
life
is
long,
still
but-
making money.
Yeah, maybe that return that 3 days. You already touched that the multiplexes are making money out of it. There is more number of financial leakage one side. Number of movies produced is highest in the world, as you also touched. Bollywood, Dollywood, Sandalwood, Gollywood. I mean, every 2.5 days, the one movie is coming up. As industry players, what all the co-creating value are doing to the society?
See,
Apart from what
what's your
co-creation values you are planning to do with it?
So what are the value that you are creating for the society through the business of making films?
What are the values we are creating?
Yeah.
in terms
What
of
is the additions to the society, like a social message
think we
or
are-
mindset change?
Frankly speaking, I believe that Indian cinema has contributed substantially to actually holding India together
Yeah.
over the last 70 years of our lives. I think it has unified India like no other industry has. I believe that it has really, when I joined films, there was one saying that the only entertainment that 90% of the population has is cinema. You know, the only thing that can actually reach out to that kind of an audience. So, and human beings need more than just
Roti
goods
kapda
and
makan.
commodities to survive. They require ideas and entertainment as much, and as the society grows, it requires more and more to entertain themselves.
Fantastic. Yes. Yes, Sumit. Okay. Sorry, Mrs. Sikwera. Yeah.
Sir, during the discussion, you told that in the next 10 years, cinema is going to undergo a major change, technology as well as otherwise. Will you elaborate?
You see, when I started making films, the films were shot on 35mm or 16mm films, which was a film strip that had to be loaded, that had to be, there were cameras for it, you shot it, then there were other editing machines which were on which you edited it. Now with the digital technology, actually people can start making films on their cell phones. They can start editing on their laptops. So there is a much greater access that has happened over the last 10 years in front of our eyes. So this digital technology has changed the way we project films. It has changed the way we Netflix and other things. We can see now all across the world. Satellite television has changed the way we can completely see each other, or consume information and all that. So, and apart from that, this entire idea of virtual reality and augmented reality, where you are not just seeing a film on a two-dimensional screen in front of you, but things can happen all around you, where audience can actually participate in how the story develops and changes. All this is going to be possible in the next 10 years.
As I say, you no longer have to see a game, you can be in the game.
Wow. That's interesting. Yes, Sumit.
So it was very interesting to hear your vision of the future industry. My question was very similar, and touching upon the first question on piracy, like Uber and Ola have made owning second cars irrelevant to an extent, or Airbnb has made going to hotels irrelevant. Is it possible for piracy to be irrelevant to the industry? Because like music industry initially fought against piracy, but because millions of people downloaded music, they had to change the business model. And so I also foresee, what are your views in this regard?
I mean, you've given an answer yourself.
Yeah, you're right.
Primarily, it is the digital platforms which are going to, if you are reaching, you see, why do you think films started releasing on 1,000 screens at the same time? So that they can actually reach out to the people in the first 3 days, as you said, the business was. With platforms like, digital platforms like Netflix and Amazon and all that coming up, you will be able to reach the entire world at the same time and the same moment. All that is going to be possible because of digital technology. It's taking time. There are too many vested interests who just want to skim on the intellectual property of others. And so piracy will survive. I'm sure you may write codes in order to block it. Somebody will crack that code the next day. That will happen. But
There are professional sites which do that.
Yeah.
But if you can reach out and keep your rates down to very, very reasonable limits, in that case you can
Erase piracy to a great extent.
I think the nature, because of this, the nature of entertainment will change, because cinema as we know it today will definitely be viewed on the digital platforms. Now, but the need for out-of-home entertainment does not go away, because people want to do things together. They want to do it as a family, as a group, as a friend. They want to get out of their houses and go out. And that is where, of course, VR will let you see things even on your machine. So, but what are you going to do to give them value for their money, which is in out-of-home entertainment?
VR is virtual reality.
Sorry,
VR is augmented reality, and that's, I think, going to be the future.
Yeah.
Sidhu.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. My question is, what has inspired you to make a film like The Manji? How did it start? How did you discover?
Manji the Mountain Man.
Yeah, Dashrath Manji.
You never know where the idea starts from. I mean, this was just a 4-page article in, I think, India Today, some 7-8 years ago, when Dashrath Manji died. There was a man who, over 22 years of his life, with just a hammer and a chisel, broke a mountain and carved out a path. And all this just for love. Because his wife fell down climbing that mountain, trying to bring him food, and he couldn't take her to the doctor in time. He lived in a very remote village, and he decided that nobody else should suffer his pain. And so he picked up a hammer and a chisel and started carving out a mountain. Poorest of the poor man, from the lowest of the low caste. And he changed the life of that entire region forever. One man. Now I thought, I mean, this was the most inspiring story that I had ever come across.
It's the love story of the underdog. I mean, people think love story is only for people who wear chiffons and live in Juhu Bandra. You know, I mean, everybody has love, so nobody talks of this kind of love, which is actually even better than Taj Mahal. You can only look at. This man actually carved a road which changed everybody's lives. So.
And that he did himself. Shahjahan had 22,000 people.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, they all both took how many years? The same number of years. 22 years. Taj Mahal took 22 years. Manji took 22 years. He made a road for love. He made a monument for love.
So Manji was more honest with his love. He did it himself.
And more socially conscious.
Yes, Rohit.
Yeah, Ketan and Deepa, I'm privileged to have you seen, heard you, because, Nitin Desai has been my childhood buddy. So I have seen you from close quarters. And he used to talk very high about you, being a creative guy. Then you talk about the chiffon salad and all that. My question to you is, when we talk about, government not responding, now, when we have, intelligent people like you who talk to government, and on the other hand, we also have the, MPs from your fraternity. So why does it happen that still, you have not been able to penetrate to that level? And every time we've seen that the government is not responding, when there is a big future in this.
Actually, the government is caught up in so many other historically generated problems. Sometimes you wonder if really is, how
Which
can-
is the bigger fire?
Yeah.
They douse it
I
first.
think there are two reasons. One is that cinema, unfortunately, has never been a priority sector. Government has not realized the soft power that cinema brings, and so has not really supported it. Secondly, cinema is a state subject, unfortunately. So each state takes its own decision, and therefore a unified decision for the entire country hasn't been possible as such. And thirdly, film industry is the most isolated, divided, introverted communities anywhere, So a unified, composite pitching to the government that
Has not
the
happened,
software groups did hasn't really happened.
But people going from your fraternity in the, government that did not support you?
It's happening, but as I said, because it is a state subject, it becomes very difficult to coordinate the policies all across India.
But Ketan, isn't it ironical that in spite of having so many challenges in the industry, as far as the government support is concerned, the entire 125 crore people want to become film stars. So I think it has got the biggest magnet any industry has is the film industry.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you.
So whether the government supports or not, the people support it big time. So
That's
I
why
think-
it has survived. It has it has survived
Yeah.
not because of the government support. It's survived in spite of lack of government support.
I wish really
Fantastic.
the government would realize the power like the Americans did, Seriously, why is American culture sweeping over everyone else? And we have the best culture on this planet Earth, So we need to be proud of it, and we need to figure out how to not shove it down people's throats, but just show the best part of it, and the film industry is best equipped to take that forward.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I've been an accidental movie producer. I completely agree with you when it comes to government intervention. But I have a product which is ready since a year, which has amongst one of the top 5 stars in the industry. I've been suffering for the fact that he's not really supporting me to release this. Do you think there is also a lot of governance required within the industry to protect producers, to protect anybody, any stakeholders, to bring the product out and give them some kind of support to take it out? So like right now I'm talking about Netflix and Amazon. So I thought it should have seen a theatrical release. I'm still working on it. But you think that if you see in countries like America, you'd still see a star who's still walking on the road and is not so high-headed. But here we still have that male-dominated. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that male-dominated space which is really controlling the industry. You won't see a lot of women who are still calling the shots, actresses who are there for a very long time, actors who now become 50 years and still, controlling the industry. How do you think that internally within the industry, certain systems, governance can be created to make this a very smooth running and a very happy place to be actually?
We have struggled with this, really speaking. The fact is that this is a challenge. It is such a divided industry that everyone is just looking at self-interest and not looking at collective interest at all. There are some organizations, you are aware of it, who do the dispute resolution and things like that. But it is a star-controlled, studio-controlled industry where individual producers are left to their own mercy and have to fend for themselves. Unfortunately, that's a fact. I think hopefully, with a greater amount of education and more people like you and me coming into the the film industry, the industry will change. It has to be a generational change now.
Also, the
And-
audiences, I mean, they give a huge opening to even a bad star film, but not a good non-star film. So the audiences are also, you know, they have the power to change it if they want.
And till your movie is released, you have bought the most expensive movie ticket for that movie. As a producer, you keep watching it till it is released.
Ask me.
Next question, Yanago.
Good evening. We're in the industry from 1972. And this industry, in my understanding, has seen whole load of producers come in and vanish. Because the industry itself is world of make-believe. You go with the concept that this is going to fly. The audience are going to like it. Or this bunch of audience are not going to like it, so you don't make a movie. Your entire business is a gamble. Every business is a gamble. This is more so because you're dependent on somebody else's likes and dislikes, for which you're putting a lot of money in it, efforts, life and soul in it. How do you protect your investment in this scenario where it's so dynamically changing?
You see, the mistake we really make, and that's why I think the industry has got such a bad name, is that actually you are saying, you are seeing that product in isolation. If you are a businessman and a producer on a long-term basis, then you should not be saying whether you are making money out of one film or not. You have basket of products. That's how all the Hollywood studios look at business. That you will have a basket of products which will actually be distributed. Out of them, just like VCs do their funding, that out of them certain products will fly and make good the entire investment for the entire thing. Some of them will just about break even, and some of it you will lose money. This is how VCs also do their business, don't they? And it makes sense to them.
No, I think in the film industry, even the studios and the funders have fallen prey to the star system. They do not look at the script and the story. They do not analyze where is this going to reach. They say, oh, if so-and-so has signed it, it must be good enough. So when they lose, they lose big time. I mean, the combined loss was 7,000 crores of the industry. It's not because it's a bad business, but these are bad decisions, that you have not looked at the script, you have only seen the actor's name and funded the movie. So when the film bombs, you're losing 200 crores, and if it made money, you're making 2 crores. So, you know, because actor is making the rest of the money, so it's a bad decision. The industry by itself is, nothing is wrong. I mean, we've survived it, and our films, even if they're not blockbusters, we've not lost money in the long run ever. No,
Yes.
it's because, you know that, okay, this subject is going to reach these many people, but what happens in the star-studded film is, people are trying to outdo each other. This is the biggest film, this is the biggest film, what is the film?
I'll just give you an example. What happened?
The producer does not get to choose the actor chooses the producer.
Exactly.
Now
Yeah,
what
whoever is going to listen to him.
Decides the budget also.
Yeah. And who's in the
and
film?
how did that happen? You see, about 10 film industry, you would know. Most of you would be surprised that film industry was recognized as an industry only in 2002. Before that, it was not even recognized as an industry. Okay, so all the bank finance and all that was just not even available to it. Yeah, it's since then that the organization of the film industry in terms of modern structures has started. The first things, I mean, we believe that these multinational studios will come in, Hollywood studios will come in, and some structure, some efficiency in the business will happen. Unfortunately, they took the shortest and the
Short-sighted.
short-sighted approach to it. What they did, they came in, the top 5, they selected the top 5, 7 stars, decided, saw how much they were being paid. Say 10 years ago or 15 years ago, the top stars would be getting $1 crore, $1.5 crore maximum. That was the kind of money that was being paid. They came in, and the first thing they did is, did five film deal at 5 times the price in order to block these stars. Okay, that was the first step. Systematically, they pushed up the cost of production to an extent where all the independent producers and independent distributors just died out because they could not compete. This was a systematic approach of the Hollywood studios and their conduits in India to actually dismantle the old structures of film production, film distribution and film exhibition. Systematically done over 6-7 years. And this is what has happened. They have pushed up the prices where independent producers can't really compete with them in order to bring down the competition. And now they are paying for their own sins. They've pushed up the prices, they've jacked up, they've lifted up the stars to such an extent that these stars actually also control these studios, instead of the studios are controlling the stars. So, but fortunately, stars don't last forever.
Yes,
there
Vivek.
is a whole generation of...
Ketan, one question to you. You directed an actor who thinks himself to be a good director as well. So how could you... you know whom I'm speaking about.
No,
how
we
did
don't.
you manage him?
Please name the person.
I don't want to name him.
We don't know who you're talking of.
Amir Khan.
Okay. He said it.
The fact is, the first job of the director is actually managing human beings. Whether it is technicians, whether it is the artists. And I've realized over the long career of mine that an actor is really a selfish but a greedy being. You know? Greedy in the sense that if he sees the possibility if he feels challenged enough, and if he feels that he's doing something more or better than he has ever done before, then he becomes your ally in the process. He gives out everything. Amir Khan, whom he said what he had, he actually sat at home and grew his moustache for the film. And his hair, which is real, which were not wigs. So he grew his mooch for 6 months just so that he could fit into the role. Just because he felt that he was getting a role which will bring him glory, which will give him something more than he has ever received. So if you can challenge the artists, then they are willing to go all the way for you. The challenge is to challenge the artists.
Fantastic. Yes, Vivek.
Why choose Amritsar for the location for this? For
I think I'm a Punjabi, so...
She is
since
being
I've-
biased.
Yeah, since I have my roots there, I think I understand that culture the most inherently, so I chose to do it there. And it's a great place too.
Deepa, for your
No, but
information,
we
Maharashtra
see-
has a lot of forts.
I love it. I'm going to do it here too.
No,
if I'm
seriously,
allowed.
we are looking at multiple centers all across India. I mean, fortunately for us, the Punjab government moved much faster than some of the other governments.
Yes, Arvind.
I don't know how should
We'll
I
be
ask
taking
this.
last 3 questions.
When we say that good creators go to the minutest details, I watched the film Pink. Did you?
Yes.
I watched Yellow.
I failed to understand this. As an audience, I saw that there were lots of witnesses in the court, in the film, and the most important witness, the landlord, was missing altogether. Any specific reason for that?
I don't know. I have not made that film, nor have I produced it, so I don't know what those flaws were. But I think Amitabh Bachchan was superb in the movie. He added the gravitas needed for a subject like this. He did not reduce it to sarcasm, and he gave you the depth. And the subject itself is an amazing subject. So,
Okay,
these
fine.
things happen.
And one more small thing, little jokingly, we said that you are good creators. Now you need to tell me the truth. Who created this? The mic in your hand. The mic in your hand. Can you just show that? Is so much matching to your dress. Was that Rajesh's creation?
God loves me, serendipity.
Nor the dress, nor the mic.
God needs to love you, okay, if you have to succeed. That's for
Next
sure.
question. Yes, Sangram.
Sir, you given the n number of negative points, but you don't mention the what things which gives you motivation to do better things.
the itch to be rich, the itch. No, not rich. It's like, yeah, it's an all-consuming passion, you know, which catches you. And I don't know, like Ketan says, I don't know if subjects choose us or we choose them.
No, the fact of the matter is that I think cinema is the most fascinating medium ever created. Once you fall in love with it, you get obsessed with it. It drives you crazy. It drags you through life in the most passionate way possible. I think it is a most amazing experience having lived through with this medium all our lives. We have been, and we really feel blessed and lucky, because every day you are learning something new. Every time you are meeting new people. Every time, each experience is a really an intense experience, you know. So.
And the fact is that, you know, it's the only profession, at least I have found, and I'm sure that's why he's found, that uses everything about you. Your sense of music, your sense of visual, your sense of passion, your sense of emotion, your sense of numbers and business, your sense of craziness. Whatever you are, cinema is the only medium which completely uses the whole of you. So after you have tasted this profession, you cannot do anything else, you know, because you keep longing for just that complete experience. We don't feel we need a holiday because our work is so engaging. So my mother used to come and say, this is a way to live. You don't know when you're eating, you don't know what you're doing. I said, Mom, you give me 10 lives, I will go back to this medium only.
Fantastic. Friends, so that was very interesting. We can all clap for them. I would like to request Mr. Vasant Doble to please come up. I would like to request Vivek Mendonca. It's awesome having you over. They live in a beautiful place at Aksa. It's known as Harmony. It's one of the best places in Mumbai to live. It keeps them fresh, alive, and more creative. And I'm sure this mug will be very helpful in that place.